There's power in a drum beat on a hill above the sea. Power in the voice above the corner. But it all amounts to nothing. Together we don't sing. There's power when we're not noisy. Standing there, go forever. Old town scenery. Valley and mountain, chaparral to the sea. And the colors of our rainbow, sunset, orange, Tory, green. There's power when we're not noisy. SC loyal forever. Some great North County. Desert to islands, get loud now, you and me. All our voices strong together as we cheer on our team.
Welcome to the Loyal Locals podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Dyer, coming at you, still reeling from Friday's 5-0 loss. Oh, wait, I'm getting something here. That was a 5-0 win, an incredible performance by your San Diego Loyal. To help us go through all this and hit all of the supporter group things that you need to know going into a bye week is our producer, John Cross. John, how are you doing, man?
I'm hanging in there. I'm still recovering from COVID. Probably about 50%, so we're gonna see how this goes tonight.
Well, it's good to have you back on the show. We've certainly missed you last week. But yeah, man, it's been so long since we've been able to confidently have good feelings about this team. We struggled through the last couple months, not getting the results we wanted, getting a lot of draws, losing, not fun. And yeah, now we've got 2 wins in a row. The
Two
last
shutouts.
one, 2 shutouts, yes. And the last one, very impressive on the road in the altitude of Colorado Springs. How did you feel after that match?
Pleased, of course. I mean, it was the first time that it felt like we were firing on all cylinders. Like all the things that we thought we were capable of doing, we finally did. We put away our chances because I think there's been times even in the games we've lost where we've had opportunities, but we didn't put away any of our chances, or that last pass in the final third just didn't connect. And in this game, we couldn't do anything wrong at all. I mean, it was an impressive performance against a good team that was, hadn't allowed a goal in multiple games coming into this match. So Colorado Springs is a strong team, and we just, they didn't play as well as they've played in the past, and that clearly contributed. But we were on fire, and frankly, Adrian Perez. I like to get Dylan in here to talk about some of this. I don't want to go too deep, but I think we all feel he got robbed of Player of the Week this week for his performance.
Just a great injustice, oversight by the league. Anybody who watched that match, you could not come away from that thinking anything other than this guy is the reason we won. And I'll go to the mat with anybody over that. Even he was not the main goal scorer. He did have 1 goal, the opening goal, but just about everything that we did well, every attack that worked, started with him. He kind of filled in that Nick Moon role, right, where he kind of is able to bring the ball into the attacking third and make something happen. Be that I know he took a lot of questionable chances in that Pittsburgh game, but I think I said at the time, like, hey man, at least somebody is taking these shots. Somebody is trying to put the ball in the net, even if it's sailing well above it. And I'm so happy to see him kind of carrying on with that mindset and really being aggressive and really forcing the action. And you can see when things work, like that kind of mindset and that kind of that kind of play really yields great results. The opening goal, maybe a little bit of a goalie error, but that counts all the same. He had 1 assist. I believe he had another It wasn't an assist. It was definitely a goal involvement. Gosh, I don't know. I didn't watch closely, but I feel like he was involved with every goal we scored. 2 assists, 1 goal. However, that performance not enough to get Player of the Week. He is Team of the Week, of course, but Player of the Week went to a Tulsa player who had a brace, a couple of tap-in shots, 1 header, and then the game-winning gimme goal. But that was good enough for the league, who apparently were not watching Friday's match. I really can't. It was just a whistle-to-whistle performance from Adrian Perez, and I can't say enough about what his play on Friday did for this team.
Yeah. I think we should bring in Dylan and get his thoughts about it as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fun game, and as to Andrew's point, it's that clear East Coast bias showing again, where it's, well, not that Tulsa's the East Coast, but I digress. It's that clear anti-West Coast bias where they're just ignoring us out here, but that's okay. Let them sleep on San Diego Loyal. Yeah, Perez had a great game. I love the confidence. It's good to see. It's good to see somebody just trying something, like Andrew said. I think you can sit there and talk all the detailed nuances of the tactical setup all you want, but sometimes you just need somebody who's going to go out there and fucking do it. Pardon my language. Adrian Perez was that guy on Friday. So yeah, shame on the USL Championship for sleeping on that one. Sure, Goodrum had a couple goals, but whatever, tap in extra time. Who cares?
And they already gave him Player of the Week earlier in the month. They said it in their own tweet. Like, what are you doing?
They just feel bad because he hated his own team when he was in Memphis, and now he's in Tulsa. So they just feel bad for him, I guess.
Well, I don't want to discount the other performances we saw. Obviously, Blake Bodley having a brace on, not only a brace, but a brace of headers. I think it was the second one was really nice. Just kind of the kind of prolific and successful attack that we really haven't seen in, long time.
Well, we haven't seen all the pieces connect. I mean, we've seen people make good runs, but then the cross wasn't there. And we've seen good crosses, but, maybe to nobody because nobody was making a run. Like I said at the beginning, we just connected all the way around. It was a perfect cross. Bodley made some great runs into the box to get himself open for those headers. And I don't know, Corona did one of the crosses. I don't remember if he did.
I think it was the first one.
Yeah, but I mean, they were well-placed crosses, good runs, great passing. I mean, that's the kind of game we've been talking all season. We want to see one of those where we just connect and just kind of blow out a team because we know we have that capability. And this was the time, and great to do it at the end of the road trip and really hopefully set us up well for this homestand coming up.
Yeah, I don't want to leave off the other side of the ball because like was mentioned earlier, this was the second consecutive clean sheet. And, it's not like Koke Vegas was bored back there. He did have to move around and make some saves, and he did. And he really has been the last couple of weeks playing as well as he has all year.
Yeah, I think we mentioned probably last week when we were talking about the Hartford game, it was great to get that clean sheet, but we definitely conceded a lot of chances that I think a better team might convert. And it was absolutely not as bad against Colorado Springs, but I think even against 10 men, there were times where you found yourself like, whoa, hold up, let's not let this get away from us. All in all, though, I really appreciated the way we really went for it after we went up a man and we're 2-0 up. I know that was the opposite of what we did in Indy, and I think we were all as fans pretty universally frustrated by that. So it was really nice to see us take the initiative, go on the front foot, and then make this a fun day out, really.
So what does this mean for the team going forward, Dylan? I think they are still pretty much mid-table. This hasn't significantly really affected our standing. I think maybe it got us into a home playoff berth if the standings were to hold. But how do we capture this momentum and keep it going through the end of the year?
Well, I think it's always important to keep perspective, right? I know that it's been a tough run for Loyal, and frustratingly so. This is the third year in a row we've seen this kind of summer lull while we have a long away stretch. But I think that if you had told me we would go 7 games without winning, and then we would be going into match day 19 fourth, only like I think it's 5 or 6 points off the top and only like 3 or 4 points off second. I think we've done an okay job weathering the storm, and a little bit of that has been results around us. Sacramento has started to drop some points. San Antonio isn't the juggernaut they could be. Colorado Springs, we just went and showed them the business. So I think that the West is a little more open than we maybe thought it was at first, just because it's the USL, right? These aren't perfect players. Everybody's going to go through a rough patch. So that said, I think despite the rough time we've had and the frustration we've all experienced, we're coming into 5 straight home games against teams we can beat. So I think that it's, while you don't want to get ahead of yourself, I think we have, by our own volition or just by the results around us, found ourselves in a position where we actually are poised to make a good run here. And it could yield us good results come the end of the season. So we need to really capitalize on this long home stretch. So I know that was a kind of a roundabout answer to your question, but I think the biggest thing that win set up for us is that it gives us this stage of a 5-game home stretch to really get the momentum going for the end of the season.
So one thing that we've talked about a lot is the kind of looking for the lineup, right? Like experimenting with different starters, different players coming off the bench. Like what's the rotation? What's the right combination that's going to unlock this attack? Are we finally seeing that?
I mean, it's hard to say, right? I think every game's different, and especially in the modern game, coaches will be making even the most minute changes from game to game to adjust for the opponents that they're playing. And I know that Nate does that too, because I can see that it's different from game to game sometimes. That said, I do think that we're starting to find a little bit of a tune maybe in offense. Conway, I have been singing his praises all season, even when he's not necessarily scoring goals. I think he's just such a well-rounded player. But Toomey, despite a slow start, has finally started to find some rhythm. And I think that's because we've been doing a good job in the last 2 games of finding him in spacious positions. He's best when he has room to do his Toomey thing, like do his flair, have some fun on the ball. So yeah, I don't know that this is like the final evolution of our team or the offense or what have you, but I definitely think we maybe have stumbled onto something here, and I'm keen to see what we can do now with this long home stretch.
So, John, I don't know if you have the schedule in front of you. I know we have a bye week. What is our next regular season USL Championship match?
Our next match is against Colorado Springs again, and that would be a week from Sunday. So 3 days, right? 3 days, 4 days after we play Dortmund. When do we play Dortmund? Next Thursday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Wait, who's
week
Dortmund?
Thursday.
I've never heard of that team.
Yeah, we'll get to them in just a second. But yeah, we play Colorado Springs basically back to back. Now they have a match in between, which, as they mentioned this on the broadcast, their player who got their red card will be available for the game against us because he will serve his 1-game suspension this
Okay,
week.
so I actually wanted to ask about that. I was wondering about it today because I was actually watching the highlights back in preparation for this. Straight red cards can be more than a 1-game suspension, especially if the red card is given for violent conduct, which, looking back at what it was, I mean, it was an elbow. So is he just going to be suspended for one game? Like, I'm genuinely asking. I'm not trying to like set
I haven't
myself up
seen
here.
anything from the league. They haven't
Right.
announced any significant suspension beyond
Okay.
the standard red card.
I'm surprised by that if it is just one game, if I'm honest with you.
Right. And I don't know if I have not seen anything from the league as well. Maybe something will come down later, but I feel like that is something by now we probably would have heard, or if something different than a 1-game suspension was going to happen. So
I hope he does
it's likely
play. I hope he does play. I'm just come on.
Get him sent off again.
Come on. Come on. We'll take your best shot in Torero. We already know
So-
what we can dismantle your back line. So, bring it. Bring him. Bring what's his name back, the guy that played last year. Bring him back. We'll take them all on. Feeling very confident now.
Of course you are. It's easy to feel confident when you win 5-0. And again, they should feel confident. I think we played well, but it's, even in this league, even against a team that might, which Colorado Springs is not, but even a team that might be sitting lower on the table, it's hard to beat a team twice in a season. So, and I think the Loyal will know that, but we'll be at home and it'll be our first home match back in Torero. I think the crowd is going to be ready. I think this is, I hope it is a chance for us to, probably not a 5-0, but still have a dominant performance again and really kick off this homestand. I think the players and the fans certainly are going to be ready for this match.
Yeah. So
I think
between
Oh,
go
sorry.
ahead, Dylan.
I just wanted to say too that I think while a 5-0 win on the road is always fantastic, it is worth remembering too that we scored 2 goals in the first 10 minutes. The first one was definitely a goalkeeper error. The second one you could probably call a goalkeeper error. So I'm not trying to take anything away from Loyal, but I will say
Sounds
that
like you are, man. You just
Yeah,
said
well,
these
maybe a
goals
little
are
but 2 goals in the
Results of
first 10
errors.
minutes changes the fabric of a game, especially when the other team's best goal scorer gets frustrated and goes and elbows somebody and gets himself sent off. So I'm just saying, yes, we won 5-0, but Loyal need to be aware that that was a bit of an anomaly scoreline and they cannot rest on their laurels going into this game. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah. Well, between these two Colorado Springs games, we do have a couple of adjacent soccer events in San Diego at the Snapdragon Stadium under the blistering sun in Mission Valley. Although I think these are going to be night games. Dylan, did you make the U.S. the Gold Cup match?
I did not actually. Wednesdays are the one day a week that I cannot leave work early because it's my one in-office day a week. So the U.S. Soccer Federation really did me a solid by scheduling that at 4:30 on the one day a week that I cannot leave work early.
Just a really terrible time for a kickoff, especially on the West Coast. And I think you saw it a little bit in the attendance, at least early on. Of course, that was also impacted by the fact that we are in a blistering heat wave, and the entire west side of Snapdragon Stadium was absolutely cooking in the sun. Now I know that maybe people who go to a lot of Padres games, they might understand that, hey, some seats you're going to have the sunshine. Well, that's baseball. I'm talking about soccer, where the standard in the sport is to have cantilevered shade covering over your stands. Every stadium, major stadium, and even minor stadiums have shade for the fans, and this has been something that's been talked a lot about with Snapdragon and their ability to host soccer. The university has really sold the stadium as a destination soccer venue. They got all of these soccer things coming through, not just Home of the Wave, but obviously this Gold Cup match. They had the Mexican team play a couple weeks ago. They have these 2 friendlies coming up, the Wrexham Man United friendly, and then the Loyal taking on Borussia Dortmund. And I think I just saw today that Snapdragon is going to be hosting the women's final in the NWSL. So lots of stuff coming up, and I think for me, as I was absolutely baking and sweating in my seat, I was just like shaking my head, like, you know, this is absolutely miserable. Like, this is a terrible experience. It was very difficult to enjoy the game, especially during that first half. Um, a lot of people just left their seats and went and stood in the shade. Um, I don't know if either of you have been at Snapdragon for day games, but I'm interested in your thoughts.
I went to the game against Angel City like a month ago or so during the day, and it was awful. It was miserable. I ended up finding a little bit of shade up in the second deck Cutwater bar, where I ended up texting all my friends and told them to come meet me there because I wasn't going to go sit in the sun again. Um, I have to say that while I think Snapdragon is like a really nice stadium, if it's not too hot out, I also feel as though like it's a really good kind of microcosm of like the modern trend in American sports where it's like totally catered towards like the people in the luxury experiences and everybody else is kind of like, you know, do your best, bring some sunscreen, because the luxury areas are really nice. One of my friends, who shall remain nameless so that he doesn't get in trouble, managed to sneak into the luxury lounges when we were there, and it was really, really, really nice. But everywhere else is just like, a frying pan. So I don't know.
Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe I just have the wrong friends.
yeah. That's
Sorry,
hey,
locals.
he was not able to sneak me in. He got himself in. So
I
it's not
know,
like I've got the
I
right
know.
friends here.
Well, somebody has the right friends. You have your friends call my friends, and
My people will call your people. Yeah.
so but yeah, it was just, I don't want to complain about it too much, but it was just a brutal and miserable fan experience, and I can't believe that after them coming out and saying about MLS, like, well, all the games are going to be at night. Well, are they? Are they really?
I'd just like to point out too that the giant middle finger that is to the Wave, because that's just saying like we're gonna get all the prime time slots and everybody's accepting it and you can't do nothing about it. It's kind of if I were the Wave front office, I'd be a little insulted by that assumption.
Yeah. So that means what? Wave fans get the daytime treatment, so that MLS fans can enjoy the cool breezes of the evening.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you joke, but that's exactly what it means.
Oh man. Well, so we are going to be, a lot of us are going to be at Snapdragon, maybe some of us twice next week. Tuesday is the Wrexham friendly against Manchester United. Ronaldo and crew are going to, I'm sorry. What? Sorry. He's playing for the oil league in Saudi Arabia. I don't know who they're bringing. We were talking back whenever this game was announced, when tickets went on sale, because the prices were a little crazy. I think me personally and several other members of the locals just got the cheapest random ticket we could find with the intention of going to that Cutwater Lounge and watching the game from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Manchester United actually play a friendly the next day at SoFi Stadium, I want to say, in LA, against either Chelsea or Roma or some other big European club. So that is to say, they're not going to be playing their stars 2 days in a row in the preseason. And if they're not going to play them 2 days in a row, they're not going to play them against the League Two side. Let's be honest, because that's less of a moneymaker for them. So I don't want any Manchester United fans to be under the illusion that they're going to show up and like see all the big names. It's going to be like the U21 squad. But those of us like myself who are big fans of Welcome to Wrexham, it might be fun. Hopefully we'll get to see the Paul Mullins, the Ollie Palmers of the world.
When's season 2 coming out? I thought for sure this tour would coincide with the premiere of season 2, but I haven't seen anything about when that's
I think
supposed to.
season 1 dropped August of last year, so maybe it'll kind of coincide with the start of the new season to kind of rope in the attention at that time.
Well, I don't know what to expect as far as a product on the field, but I think it'll just be a cool hang for soccer fans in San Diego. And then 2 days later, Thursday, we're going to go back and do it all again. And under slightly different circumstances, we have a friendly against Borussia Dortmund, big club from Germany. You may have heard of them. Christian Pulisic used to play there. Gio Reyna, is he still there?
He is, but I've heard from
He's hurt.
sources that he's injured and will not be playing in that game.
Still injured from the Nations League final.
I have to say, the guy's 2021, and he's already had large disruptions to his career via injury. I have some concerns. I know this is not the lounge, so I won't dive in deeper, but...
Well, we don't have a lounge tonight, so...
Oh, well, I don't know. I hope that Gio Reyna can find a long-lasting fitness, because when a young guy like that has the injury troubles that he's had, you can't help but worry.
Well, you know what? I was thinking, and I can't remember. I may have saw this on TikTok of all places, but we do have another player who can fill that role, who is very promising. I don't even know how to say his name. Balogun.
Balogun?
Yeah, Balogun.
Fullerene, or however you say it.
Yeah. You talking about having a center forward, somebody who can score. I think, we'll be fine. We'll be fine either way.
Yeah, definitely. But Gio Reyna is one of those players that's fun to watch, and I'd love to see him hit the highest potential he could. And also, selfishly, I think I'd want him to be playing in this friendly against Loyal, because that's easily the most marketable thing they could utilize.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a little bummed to hear he's injured, but I still hope that game is well attended. I will be there. I'm bringing a bunch of people who will be in town. I've told them that they're going to have to get crazy and sing with us. I know that banners are being prepared. Maybe we can touch on that a little bit later. But it should be a fantastic time. I'm really excited.
So I think that's a good chance to get into some of the information for supporters, because if you are bringing banners, drums, I was contacted today. The club is collecting that information. So get in touch with your local's leadership if you are bringing anything into the stadium for like setup that you can't bring in through the regular doors. All of that is being organized as we speak. So please get in touch with locals leadership and let them know.
And in addition to that, leadership, more specifically Nick Duffy, is working on a banner for the Dortmund game, and he will be painting it, I believe, this Sunday morning. I'm hoping to be there. I just have to clear a couple things on my schedule. But if you're free and you want to get involved, TiVo painting is a really fun way to do it. That's how I started to get more involved. And look at me now. I'm obligated every Tuesday. So, but anyway,
Gotcha.
Yeah, TiVo painting on Sunday, I believe it is. But clarify that in the Discord with Nick. We can use all the help we can get.
So
and there are still tickets. Tickets in section 138.
Oh, plenty of tickets still.
Tickets
And
available.
people who would like to sit with us.
Some freebies floating around in Discord as well.
Yeah, lots of we're gonna have full drums, full 109 experience in Snapdragon. It's a great opportunity for us to fill a big building with our drums and our songs. Also, a proper loyal locals Chavos tailgate before the match, something we're not allowed to do at USD. Finally, a proper tailgate, which I think everyone is looking forward to.
Yes.
John, I know we have other SG business to hit. I do want to mention real quick, I know the Rocket League team was playing tonight. They have a chance to clinch their regular season championship. I don't know what the results were tonight. Do we have an update?
We have an update. They won.
There you go. Undefeated.
They won. Yeah, undefeated for this. Well, not the season. I don't
Well,
think
they play best of 3 each night. They play best of 3, so they've lost, I think, one of those best of 3s. But they won the series, and they've won every
other. The 5
So-
other times were sweeps.
So, as somebody who is technically part of this Rocket League team, but mostly is there as a like break glass in case of emergency extra player, I can tell you that the format is it's best of 5 each week.
5. You win 3.
Right,
You have to
yes.
win
So
3.
they're 7-0 after 7 match weeks. They have one more match week after this, so it's possible they don't go undefeated. However, in their 7 match weeks, they've only played 22 games. They're 21-1 in the 22 games they played over 7 match weeks. That is domination.
So and it's a lot of fun. I know that the live stream is iffy week to week, but it is a lot of fun I finally started watching some of these streams because my kid is playing on the Rocket League thing, so I'm being that parent. And it's actually a lot of fun, pretty funny listening to the live commentary in the games. It's really fun.
Yeah, it's a good
Also-
time. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, John.
Well, I was going to say, in terms of the Supporters Gaming League, this season's almost over, and it is likely that by the end we will get promoted into, because we're in League 2 right now, so get promoted to League 1. And I know Kevin has posted a few times in Discord, and I'd really like to get a second team going.
For
So
League
if
2
you are
after the
interested-
promotion.
Right, so they could have a team in each league and get more people involved who would like to play. And this means absolutely nothing to me, but I am going to find my notes here.
Are you talking about the levels of the opponents,
The
John? 'Cause
levels, yeah,
I
go
can
ahead.
offer a little insight on that.
Yeah,
So
help me out.
KJ, our captain, mentioned that in League 2, most of the players are high gold to low platinum, which, if you don't play Rocket League, means absolutely nothing. But I will tell you that on the bell curve of Rocket League dumb, high gold and low platinum are like nearing the peak, as in that's like your average Rocket League player. So if you are somebody who plays even casually like myself, you're going to be as good, if not better, than the average person playing in this Supporters Gaming League, League 2. So please do not be bashful. I don't play a lot. I'm rusty as shit. At my best, I'm a high platinum player, and I'm better than a lot of these people in these leagues. And I'm not like trying to blow smoke up my ass here. I'm just trying to tell y'all that don't be shy. Like, come out, have fun. It's a great time, and you meet some good people, if nothing else.
Also, I want to throw this out there. I mentioned to John before we went live. If you made a pledge for the fundraiser last month, please pay your bill. That's the Pride Raiser.
Right, and if you're someone like me, who I'll use my COVID as an excuse, but I absolutely do need to go back. I totally forgot about the email that came through. So when Andrew and I were having the conversation, I realized that I haven't paid my pledge yet. So I will be one of those people trying to take care of that tomorrow and get my pledge squared away.
I
So if
feel
you
like
haven't,
the-
if you're like me and you haven't, please get in there and take care of your pledge. And remember, you can always change it and donate more if you would like.
I feel like the reminder emails have not been coming through. I was in the same boat as you guys. I kind of forgot and then remembered last week because somebody mentioned it to me. But I recall in previous years, I feel like I got very noticeable reminder emails to like fulfill my pledge. But to your point, John, I actually went in because Loyal didn't score as many goals as I had hoped and pledged more, or rather donated more than my pledge dictated. So yeah, you can always do that.
All right,
And
John, what
can-
else do we need to hit as far as SG goings
Yeah,
on.
continue along with the Pride theme. We did have Pride Parade over the weekend. Did either of you participate? Because, I haven't left the house in more than a month, so I'm not participating in anything right now. So I heard either of you make the parade?
I did not participate, but my girlfriend and I went with the intention of just kind of supporting the locals folks and the loyal front office people and everybody who was there with the soccer group. And then we ended up just kind of walking along the parade route, like along the viewers' side with the locals people, which was fun because we got to shout at them the whole time. But it was great. I honestly, this was my first time going to the San Diego Pride Parade just because between COVID and travel in previous years, I've never gotten an opportunity to go. It was just such a fun event full of like love and like acceptance and everybody just kind of like doing their thing. And I really enjoyed it, and I fully intend to march in the loyal group next year. The only reason I didn't this year is because I wasn't sure I was going to be able to make it, and I know that they were theoretically limiting slots, but it sounds like pretty much anybody could have marched. So yeah, it was a great time, and I strongly encourage if you don't want to like march in the parade, like I wasn't sure if I could this year. Just go. It's such a great time. They shut down all the streets. Walking along the middle of University Ave is a lot of fun. So it's just such a wonderful event. I had a really, really, really good time, and shout out to all the locals folks I saw out there. It was a lot of fun.
I've only been to 2 Pride parades, mainly because since my kid plays soccer, usually Saturdays are full. I don't get a lot of, for whatever reason, even though it's the middle of July and there's not any soccer leagues in season. It always just turns out that we have stuff to do, and it's he's going to go off to college eventually, and then my weekends are going to clear up quite nicely, I think.
Yeah, it looked like from the pictures I saw, quite a few people involved, and everybody looked like they had a good time. And I would, even though I wasn't out there this year, I would encourage, if you haven't, like Dylan said, if you get a chance, even just to go watch and hang out. It is an awesome event, full of love, as Dylan said, and pretty cool to get out there if you've never experienced it.
Yeah, they had I think it was it Lockheed that had the Predator drone at Pride.
I did not see that, but I will say that the FBI had a float that definitely raised some eyebrows. So
it's very funny. I went, what year was it? It must have been 2019, the last one I went to. And, I knew that these corporations would, had a presence at Pride but it never like doesn't like amaze me when you see like the cops walking by, waving their Pride flags. And it's like, yeah, I guess, there was a movement, no cops at Pride. I don't know if that made it to San Diego or not, but
I definitely saw some of that. But there were plenty of Rangers. In fact, DHS made an appearance, so they took it pretty seriously, it sounds like.
All right. Well, a couple other things as we're getting forward. Are you guys we'll kind of tease it this way. Are you guys getting excited with the World Cup coming up on Thursday?
Very much so. Do either of you have any idea if there's plans for the U.S. game on Friday against Vietnam? I think it's 6 o'clock kickoff?
Thursday, I think, for us.
Oh, I could have sworn it was Friday.
I know
I think it is Friday where is their first game in New Zealand? But I think it's Thursday for us. I think it's 6 o'clock our time.
I hate time zones so much. Okay, I'm gonna double check on that after the game, or after this podcast rather. But do either of you know if whatever night or time, if there's like events going on, or?
I've seen some stuff on socials. O'Brien's,
of course, O'Brien's
obviously will be the San Diego Outlaws, but the Sirens, I think, are having a place, or the Way. One of them, somebody's doing something at Fair Play. I know there's another place also going on that's either the supporter group or
I did see an article in the UT today that had a guide about where to go and watch the World Cup. I remember last fall when they were looking for men's World Cup spots, I connected them to all of the right people, so I'm pretty sure Abby and her folks at the paper knew who to call, so their list should be pretty trustworthy.
Okay, so I just wanted to say I don't want to cause confusion amongst our viewership here, all 2 people watching. It according to USsoccer.com, the USA versus Vietnam game 1 of group stage is July 21st, so Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time.
Okay.
So it is Friday at 6 o'clock. That's as much for my own sake as anybody else. It's being played in Auckland, New Zealand. I believe our Rocket League captain will actually be there. Though I don't want to speak for him. I know he's going to the World Cup. I don't know if he'll be at that one.
He is
game.
going, yeah.
Yeah.
So along those lines, if you haven't seen, Shannon McMillan through the USL Super League is doing a newsletter throughout the World Cup. So if you were not aware of that, you could go to the USL website and click on the link and subscribe and get Shannon Mac's newsletter delivered to your inbox for the world throughout the entire World Cup to get her perspective on what's going on.
Well, let me just throw this out to the crowd. It just came into my head. Better pundit, Landon Donovan or Shannon McMillan? Go.
I don't feel like I'm allowed to answer this question.
I'm gonna go Shannon.
I'm probably gonna go Shannon as well. I don't love her color commentary, but Landon just says stuff sometimes where I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I know I think I'm most familiar with the color commentary as well. As far as entertainment value goes, I'm always just very entertained when Landon does show up on these broadcasts.
I will say, unfortunately, and this is no fault of Landon's, but he often shows up alongside Alexi Lawless, which means I am not able to enjoy anything that happens. So I'm a little biased there.
Yeah, speaking of broadcasts, I did find the supposed release date for season 2 of Welcome to Wrexham, which should be August 24th. Should be the first episode.
That'll
Spoilers,
be well after their season
they win promotion. Spoiler alert.
Damn it, Andrew! Come on.
Sorry, y'all. Oh
Actually,
yeah, and I've actually got another spoiler for you for Oppenheimer. I'm so sorry.
The bomb explodes. Sorry.
As someone who does video, I am very interested to see how they play out this season, because frankly, there can't be very many people who don't know the outcome as they're watching it. So with some of the key games they had, especially that one against Notts County at the end, I'm interested to see how they portray those pivotal moments of the season and how that comes out. So I watched the first season. I did not think it was as good. I enjoyed it, certainly, and lots of aspects.
I think season 2 is when they really start implementing the Dennis method.
Yes.
There was a little too much Ryan and Rob for me in like a couple of those filler episodes.
I think it was filmed during the pandemic,
really about
the
team.
I think you're right, John, that from the perspective of somebody who's already aware of the European soccer culture, the United Kingdom soccer culture, and like what that pyramid looks like, I kind of agree it was a lot of Rob and Ryan. Though I didn't think it was too much. I thought it was a lot. But I do think
you can't get enough Ryan Reynolds. Come on.
Anyway,
I'd watch him read a book.
I think that for the average American viewer who is maybe a sports fan but not a soccer fan, or not really a sports fan, they did a wonderful job of capturing what it means to be a club with the potential of growth in the European system, right? And so we've talked about this, maybe not on this podcast, maybe it was between you and I, but I unironically think that Wrexham, the show Welcome to Wrexham, has done more for the pro-rel conversation in America than like most things that have happened in the past, because it just fundamentally introduced a lot of people to the idea that would have never heard of it before. And I'm not trying to say that like, Ryan Reynolds is to thank for pro-rel. It's another facet in that conversation. But anyway, to circle back, I agree with a lot of Rob and Ryan, and I'd love to see season 2 maybe not have that focus, but I do genuinely appreciate the attention they've brought to another way of doing the whole sports thing,
It wasn't so much too much Ryan and Rob. I mean, they're integral to the story. I mean, they need to be there. It was frankly the 2 episodes that were they were like filler episodes. They didn't really tell the Wrexham story or anything. I wish they would have just cut the season, 2 episodes shorter. Like they had a required number of episodes they had to fill, and they weren't ready for some of their other ones or something in the editing process, and they clearly threw a couple of episodes together that were just kind of filler episodes. I hope this time around they stick more to the story, the whole story, which includes the ownership all the way through to the community.
No,
So
it was great
I
whenever
hope they stick to that.
when Rob was trying to talk Ryan into springing for the striker, like we gotta
Right.
pay, we gotta do it. So yeah, it's also a much better soccer show than Ted Lasso, which is thankfully gone now.
I'm not going to wade into this conversation because I'm not trying to make people angry.
Are you a Ted Lasso hater too, Dylan?
I'm not a Ted Lasso hater, but I really, really enjoyed season 1. I thought season 2 was not as good as season 1. And season 3, I think, is a really good example of what happens when writers don't have a coherent idea of what they want to do or what they need to do. I think that season 3 of Ted Lasso is a really good example of how not to wrap up a story. So, am I a hater? No. Do I think it's as good as it could have been? Also, no.
Yeah, season 1 through 3 are really like a case study in writing 2-dimensional characters. If anybody wants
If you want to find a hater, there's one in this group of 3, and I'm not going to name names.
All right, John, is that all the SG business we have to hit? Did we eat our
I have
vegetables?
I have a question for Dylan. And I, frankly, again, my COVID-addled brain, I forget to do things at different times. So one of the things I forgot to follow up on, so Dylan, maybe you could help, is way back when there was supposed to be, I think this upcoming weekend, like a season ticket member barbecue or something, but I have not seen or heard. I haven't seen it in emails. Do you know anything about anything along those lines?
Yeah, so that's happening this Saturday, July 22nd. They've been sending emails about RSVPing. I'm a little concerned that you've missed those, John. They've been sending quite a few of them. I would check your spam filter, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, that goes out to everybody,
Getting
actually.
Everything else with the oil.
Yeah, so double check for those. Definitely RSVP. This is not like the viewing party Eventbrite RSVPs where it's like, oh, just casually RSVP and then or don't and show up. Like, if you don't RSVP to this, you're not going to be able to go. And it's only for season ticket members. You don't get any +1s. So make sure to find those RSVP links. That's important. But yes, that is this Saturday, the 22nd.
Yeah, they sent an email yesterday. I'm seeing that now. I don't check email.
Right.
Famously, I don't check my email.
I mean, I'll check
me
mine,
neither.
but I mean, it's not like I'm going. I got weeks to go before I'm going to be doing anything. So,
well, we can FaceTime you in if you'd like.
there we go.
All right. Well,
I believe that's all the news.
Okay. Well, it's no lounge this week, so this show is all you're getting from us. I know everybody's real sad about that. Please, if you are a member of the locals, check the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, check your membership confirmation email. There should be a link for that in there. that is where you will get the latest information and any questions you might have about what's coming up. Tifo painting, the Dortmund match. The best way to get in touch with members of leadership and to find out what's going on is to be in the Discord. So that's why we talk about it all the time on this podcast. We bring it up every episode because you need to be in there. Dylan, where can people find you?
Twitter is still the best place, at dwill94. That's DWIL94. Seems like Threads isn't going to do it, it turns out. So Twitter is still the thing for the time being. And also the Discord.
Well, you don't like stuffed crustacean on Threads?
No, I have actually not downloaded Threads, but I did see that you tweeted that screenshot, and that was when I felt very validated in my decision.
You know what? It might actually be good marketing because I have not been able to get stuffed crustacean out of my head.
I'm actually going to ask you to stop saying that so that I don't go 4 days.
It sounds even worse than it reads, right?
The more you think about it, the worse it gets. But I did also want to say that Max and I are still working on some scheduling just because this week's been a little tough for both of us. But we are planning to do kind of a broader mid-season review show for Bums Breakdown that will come out hopefully later this week, maybe this weekend since we have the weekend off games-wise. But that should be a lot of fun. I'm hoping we'll be able to do something a little different for that. But also, I don't know, John, with the Wrexham game next Tuesday, are we going to even have the regular pod next week?
That's a good question. We may have to talk about that, or because are you going to the Wrexham match?
Yeah, I'll be there. It's the social event of the season.
We can do a live pod from the Wrexham match.
I'm down. Yeah, let me know. I'm into it.
I will do that. A pre-game. So. Could do just maybe a special show. Maybe not our regular one, but a special one pre-game for a few minutes. I'll talk to you guys a little bit off air. Otherwise,
connectivity might not be the best in the stadium because of all the people that are there on their phones.
That's true. Otherwise, I will put the call out right now for anybody who's listening. This is your opportunity because I will be available to do the show next week. If you have always wanted to jump on and help host the pod at any time, please contact me and let's talk about getting you on the show. I have a couple people that we've been trying to get on, so I might see if they're available, but chances are they're probably going to be at the match as well. So we'll play it by ear on whether we're actually going to have a Loyal Locals podcast next week because of the Wrexham match. So just keep an eye out on Discord and on the socials, and if we can work it out, we will have one. Otherwise, we'll see you in a couple weeks with the show.
All right. Yep. Thank you so much, everybody, and we'll be back eventually.